Hello, good evening, welcome, good evening. My name is Obindago. Welcome. I want to share briefly with you today what I call your dream or your business is about risk taking. You will realize your dream, you will realize your quest to start your business and to grow it by risk taking, by taking risk. I think that the whole world has been one way or the other been wrongly conditioned to with respect to what they call risk taking. They have exaggerated it a little bit, or they have really exaggerated it, and so most of us will look for comfort, even though we have a dream to, we have a dream to realize. We have the passion or the heart to build a business. We want to become something, but at the same time, the risk has been overblown in our mind, in our thought, in our upbringing. The other day, I was talking to this gentleman who, the guys who are in kiosks who stake lotto or what do they call it? He is the one in the kiosk. People come to write numbers for lotto, and we were conversing, and the guy seems to have very strong thought as to what everybody would the path everybody would take to get money. And for him, he thinks that people who come to take lotto, it's a business. It's a business. So he was saying that a friend of his has actually made a lot of money by staking lotto. And he went on to even say that not everybody's money is not genuine anyway. So there's nothing about genuine money. And if you take lotto and you make money, it's okay. And he's a young man. That is what amazed me. It's a young man who should focus on building his life, focus on building his future. But this is a young man who is committed himself into staking lotto and saying that by doing that, he is building a business. He's building a career out of it. Okay, and so I also told him I think that there are other things that he can do with his life. That how good was he when he was in school? That he's always calculating figures like that. If he was that good in school, he'd probably be an engineer or a statistician or something like that. But he said that he has formula. Lotto is 30% chance. He said that he'll give himself about 30%. Sure, that he will win, and then 40% about luck, and the other one he didn't know how to place it. Now for him, he thinks that he's taking risk, and that is business. You win, you lose. And I told him, no, this is not risk. This one is wrong understanding of how people get money. You are living your whole future to chances. I told him that the people who own the lotto company, the people who are printing the papers that they are staking, the people who pay people, they are the ones probably who have money and who have the business of running lotto. If you don't have money and you go to the kiosk and you stake 2 CD, 3 CD, 4 CD, it shows that you have wrong understanding of what it takes to make a meaningful life for yourself. And so risk taking has been, people understand it from different point of view, different approach. But if you're going to realize your dream, if you have a passion to live any dream at all with your life, if you want to build a business, or if you're building a business, you want to, grow it, expand it, your understanding of what they call risk cannot be an opinion. It should be close to what is reality. And so the risk will come in various forms. It could come in the fact that you want to build a business. Now, you may let's say, forgo some friends, because before your friends will, come around, you stay, you talk for 3 hours, 4 hours, talk about things that have no meaning to where you're going. Now that you commit to realizing your dream, now that you commit to building your business, uh, you stand the risk of losing those friends. So some people will call it as risk. Some of them will be friends from childhood. You may stand the risk of family and disagreement with family. Some people even lose their marriages and their children just because they dare to pursue their dreams, they dare to build something, they dare to build a business or something like that. The other thing is that most people are very much comfortable with monthly salaries. They are very much, it's predictable at the end of the month whether the business did well or it didn't do well. The business owner will send you some kind of money. If you want to start a business or if you want to focus on building your business, that one is gone. And for most people, that will be a huge risk. At the end of the month, I don't know where the money is coming from. I don't know where I'm going to pay my children's school fees. I don't know where to pay my rent. I don't know where I'm going to have money to buy food to eat, the transport. I don't know where it's going to come from. So for most people, that itself is a huge risk. It's a huge risk. The risk come in various forms. Sometimes you start a business and things don't go well, and you are left with a lot of situations that you may overwhelm you. That is the risk. So when they talk about take moderate risk, they are talking about if you lose, if the idea does not work, would you be left with something that you can manage, or you'll be left with something that will become that much difficult for you to manage. My thought on it is that if you're waiting for a perfect moment to dare to start your dream or to dare to build your business, that moment may never come. And so every success, every progress, every development comes with some certainty of what they call risk. Now, people have been trying to redefine risk, and they say that the risk is really you failing to take risk towards the dream that you have, towards the business that you want to build. Because at the end of it, you will be left with something anyway. And so if you did not focus on building that which was in your heart, on pursuing that which you were passionate about, on pursuing that which you think was your dream, you'll be left with that which is really the risk. And the risk is that you may have lived a whole life trying to continue to push, you're continuing to live a life that you really didn't want to live because risk, they say, was over blown in your head or exaggerated to you. And so risk taking is part of the dream. If you want to do anything with your life, there will be some component of uncertainty. And if there is no component of uncertainty, then it may not be worth at all. You may not want to pursue that dream at all. You may not want to build that business at all, because then it's not challenging. It is not what is it? It's not adventurous. And the part about business and the part about trying to build a dream out of nothing with no certainty is that it becomes adventurous. It becomes something that you just keep doing. And the greatness of life is lived out of what they call faith. faith, faith. So you have to count on something beyond something, sometimes even your strength and the things beyond your understanding, beyond your skill, beyond your network, beyond what people can do for you. Anything worth living for, anything worth trying, any dream that you ever want to achieve, it will come to a point that you may feel like you don't know all that it takes for you to realize this dream. You don't have, you look at the business that you are saying you want to start, and you look at yourself, you don't have the money, you don't have the network, you may not even have the expertise, you may not have the connections. It's just something that has to jump out of your heart to say that I want to go. And that is what makes a lot of people think that it's so risky. Why? Because you always will feel like you don't have everything ready, you don't have everything intact, you really don't feel like you're good enough. You don't feel like you are the one to start this business. You don't feel like you're the one to pursue this dream. It's always like that. It happens to everybody. Everybody that you have ever heard who try to achieve any dream, who try to build any business, who try to build anything that you will look at and say that this is very fantastic or this is very impressive. At the point that they started, they did never, most of them never felt like they were the people to do it. They never felt like they were qualified. They never felt like they had everything in place. And that is what they call risk. Because you are never enough, you are never competent enough, you are never prepared enough to pursue that dream. So if you're waiting for everything to be intact and you calculate and do all the market research and you do all the analysis and everything is right, you have all your employees set, everything is perfect, you may never be the one to start a business. You may never be the one to start a business. Most people who start businesses never even understudied anybody. They were just trying some things, they just try like, I have to do something, so they kept going and they kept pursuing something, and then it started to make sense because it is a step of it. And so what they call risk taking really is a step of it. It's a step that you are taking and you're not sure where it is going to end, but then you're ready to take it and continue to become somebody who will be able to handle whatever situation that pops up out of you taking that step. So when people talk about they consult everybody before they start their business. They are not ready. Especially the first step. Sometimes you take the first step before you even see that you have really taken the first step, because it's not really accurate. It's not really you having everything intact, especially if it's the first of its kind that you're doing, if it's the first of its kind that you're building, if it's a dream, if it's a business, whatever that you're trying to build. The first of it usually may not, the first step may not come from when you are very much certain. When you're very much certain, that dream that you have, that business that you have, you may not be the one to take that risk, because you may not be ready. You may be overwise for you to handle that. It may not have the the intriguing part, the part that you may not be able to build it may not be something that satisfy you. It may not be something that will satisfy you because you don't see it's not challenging enough. Why? Because the risk component is reduced or taken out. And so when people are in the house and thinking of starting a business, when people are working somewhere and they think of starting a business, or maybe you are a politician, or maybe you are a scientist, whatever that you are, and you have a dream that you want to live, you have a business at heart that you want to, it will take some component of risk. So if you are perfect, if you are a perfectionist, if you're somebody who has to be accurate, you may not be cut for this kind of journey. You may want to follow somebody who is not prepared that much, who is just chaotic and just what. Because entrepreneurship or any dream that you want to pursue, it's about doing. It's about doing. After all the analysis, after all the questions, after all the data, after all the things that they told you that you will do, it's still about doing. And anything that you dare to do will call for some step of it. Some step of it. So, like my friend who takes lotto, he thinks that 30% is accurate. The rest he doesn't know, but he calls it a business. And 30% chance, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's good. And so understand that the risk will come in all kind of forms, and the major part of it will come in the form of you not being sure that you have all the money to start, or you have all the money to pursue the dream and at the same time to keep your livelihood. When you don't have, because all of us, if let's say you had 2 million and if you lost that 2 million trying to use it for a business and nothing will change in your life and nobody will come and chase you, you will try to just use that 2 million because it doesn't become risky, or it doesn't become risk anymore because you have it, and if you lose it, it doesn't change any situation in your life. What makes it risky is that maybe that is your only savings that you have. Maybe the 1,000 cedis that you want to start the business with is the only thing that you have, and you have nobody, you have nothing, no support anywhere. And maybe you may be having a very comfortable life somewhere, and you say that, let's say, I want to start this dream. I've been talking about it all the time. I want to start a business. And so you go and you say that I don't want to come to work again. I want to go and do my own business. And for most people, it's a lot of risk because why? That company may be paying 10,000, cedis every month. They may have given you a car. They may have given you a driver. They may have given you, all kind of things. They may be paying your children's school fees, everything. And then you go to discuss with your husband, you go to discuss with your wife that, listen, I feel like this thing will work, so I want to write, a resignation letter and go and try this thing. And you have very little money to start, and you have a family. That's why sometimes it's that much difficult for people who are entangled in family and employment, in a lot of things that are sometimes much comfortable for them to look at starting a business or pursuing a dream that they so much hold dearly. Why? Because if the step that they are taking is not only even about themselves, it's also about other people, who are linked. Your children's schools, your children's school fees, your children's food, your children's everything may be linked to your salary. And you say you jump to say that, let's say, I'm not going to do this thing anymore. I want to start a business. That is a major risk, because if you go and it doesn't work, you may even lose the marriage, or you go and put yourself in a lot of difficult situation, and that is what people call risk taking. And at the same time, that fear is also what has kept a lot of people from pursuing that which is in their heart, because there is also some possibility that risk that you take may end up becoming something that will blow your mind, may become something that would exceed what you may have even thought of yourself being able to achieve. And so there is an element of risk, and you have to embrace it, no matter what the experts tell you, no matter what the consultants give you, even if they give you every data, every security, everything. If it's about business, there is no security anywhere. If you're looking for security, it's not in risk taking. There's no security in risk taking. Your perception of security, your comfort, that everything will come as planned. That kind of security, that you have this job for the next 10 years. Nobody will sack you. But at the same time, that you are really struggling keeping up with the flow at that workplace because of the dreams that you have. It's a tough choice. You have to decide which one is for you. But if you want to build your dream, if you want to build a business, especially if you want to become an entrepreneur, or if you want to build anything that has to do with commerce, there's an element of risk. And part of it, sometimes you will lose everything. It's risky. And the risk should not deter you, because just as it is risky, the risk is also part of the same achievement. There's no achievement without risk taking. No achievement. Not on this earth. Everything that you want to achieve, there is a component of risk. There is a component of uncertainty. There's a component that will call for the courage from your part. Because if you're not courageous, you cannot take a risk. If you're not confident in yourself, at least, that let me go and let whatever come, let it come. You'll be ready to face it. If you are not that kind of person, you are not ready to pursue your dream, because it calls for courage. It calls for courage. It's not because you're 100% sure, but then the courage shows that, okay, if I take it, I'm ready to deal with any situation that comes, and I'm ready to keep going. I'm ready to keep fighting. I'm ready to pursue the dream, and I'm ready to get to the bottom of it until I have that business, or until I'm able to realize that dream that I have. So every dream that you have, every business that you want to build, every journey that you want to take, there is a certain component of uncertainty. And that is what they call risk taking. And you see the business schools and what they have taught about entrepreneurship, what the business schools have taught about business. Most of these guys, most of these capitalists, a lot of the ideas they put in books, and they hired a lot of people to write all these theories. They funded a lot of them. I think that sometimes they also painted the risk taking a bit wrongly, so as to scare some people from dairy. So if you go to a lot of organized countries where there are a lot of jobs, majority of the people are very much comfortable with taking a job than trying to do something that they are not sure whether it will work or it will not work. Why? Because if you take that path, it may also end you, maybe very much worthy, like those who control the system. And so risk taking, you have to embrace it. But there's nothing like when you have nothing to do and you're a young man and you say that I want to try something. And that's why I think that most of these young boys who say that they don't have any job, they don't have anything doing, should try something there. But it should be something that you try that at least should be acceptable in the community, should be acceptable in society. Some people sell, say, drugs. If you're able to sell a drug like weed or something like that to your friends, to your community, I think that you have what it takes to take risk. The only thing is that you may be selling a wrong product. Some people who are able to organize people to go and rob other people, I think that they have courage to do something. The only thing is that they may be doing something which is not socially, in terms of society, acceptable. So focus on that which will bring benefit to society, and know that if you want to build a business, if you want to start a business, it will call for confidence, it will call for courage, it will call for you taking that risk. You have to take that risk. And some of it, your confidence to take the risk, sometimes I think is a build up. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen that one day that I'm ready to take risk. I think that it's more of the content that you build. You build a certain content with a certain exposure, a certain knowledge, a certain experience, certain experiences, the way you start to change your thought on some things. Those things that you start to change in your life, the accumulation of information, some things, your interactions with other people who are taking risk, all those continue to build up to a certain point in your life. Then it gets to a place that you say that, okay, I'm ready to take whatever comes. I'm ready to try something. And sometimes when you the one doing it, sometimes you may not see anything risky as to what you're doing. Everybody around you may see it as risky, but you may not, because of your point of reference, because of what you see. And in this life, people understand issues of life based on where they stand, or based on their level. So the kind of level that you have built for yourself in terms of content development, in terms of knowledge, in terms of exposure, in terms of things that you've tried, they will sometimes hedge you from seeing the whole risk, sometimes blind you, because you need some certain level of blindness for you to really dare to take that risk. Because everybody else around you may be wiser. They will see everything that will not work. And possibly if you had seen that thing which will not work, you probably will never have taken that step in the first place. So most people who have built businesses, when you ask them that, when you were taking that risk, were you ready? Said, I didn't see it, or I didn't see. Probably if I had known every bit of the journey for the first 5-10 years, maybe I wouldn't have taken that risk at all. And so it's risk taking, but it is risky for those who have not developed their content. It is risky for those who have not developed their mind. It is risky for those who have not become prepared. When you are going to write exam, for instance, if you didn't study the subject, if you didn't sit down, you didn't go for the lectures, and you just went for your friend's note, you discussed the exam the last night, and you are going for the exam the next day, you see how much inconvenient you become, because you didn't prepare, you didn't go through the process. So it becomes that much, you become hypersensitive. You become worried because you didn't prepare. I remember my friend Chobi, and some courses that we were not going for the classes, or we were not so much happy with the classes, so we go some, go some. So the day before the exam, we go and sit in the room and discuss all the past questions and go and write. And when you're going, the only chance is that you study the past questions and hopefully you will pass. If you didn't go through the process and you didn't train that much, you see the risk, you see the problems, you see the challenges. But if you develop yourself, the risk may be there, but you'll be ready to handle it. So those guys who were always in the class, who were always doing the assignment and everything, they may have some bit of worry, but they were not like those of us who were cutting through the classes. So they were a bit more confident that they were going to fight for all the best grades because they had prepared. So your preparation gives you some certainty, some level of ability to handle the risk. It's not that you are afraid, but at least you have been developing yourself as to the content and the word view and the things that maybe you will need to let this dream become a realization, or this business become a realization. So instead of you focusing so much on how crucial or how bad maybe it is for you to take the risk, focus on becoming a better person yourself. Focus on developing yourself. Focus on developing your skill. Focus on developing understanding how a business is started. Focus on building a network. Focus on changing your worldview. Because if you want to start a business and you think as an employee, and the risk you over stretch the risk, you will so much look at everything. Sometimes when you're talking to somebody and they want to start a business, you see the kind of questions that they're asking, you know that they have not moved. And my advice is that don't start, don't dare, if you have not moved from thinking as an employee, because there has to be a shift, and that shift would only come when you start to develop a different content, when you start to develop a different thing in you, when you start to equip yourself with different worldview in terms of thinking as an entrepreneur, and changing your perspective with respect to risk, what you call risk. If you're that much addicted to salary and you cannot live without salary, if you are that much, if you know some people think that they are better because they have jobs, they are better than their friends because they have a job, and they talk about their job everywhere, and they are proud of it. It's good you're proud of your job, but if you feel like you're better than your friend who has no job because you have a job, and your job is everything that you have in this world, you will never think of leaving that job to start a mini business. You will never. It will be so much scary for you. If you are so much uncomfortable with losing money, some people cannot let one cedi go. No, 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 no. How can you cheat me? How can you take my money? It's very much uncomfortable. Nobody is comfortable with losing money. But at a point, you will lose some. And that is part of the risk that they talk about. If you're so much sensitive and so much attached to the opinions of people, the risk will be there. You will see the risk big, because then you don't have a mind on your own to say that this is what I also think and this is what I want to pursue. If you are not comfortable with being left alone, people want to leave you and go on with their lives. If you're so much attached to people, the risk you will see the risk and you see it big, because you are so much attached to people. You don't want to lose that friendship. If you so much easily trust people and what they say, sometimes you can overblow the risk in your mind, because you may be a good person at heart. Sometimes you just have to be a bit you know what is it, a bit more inquisitive and curious as to the agenda of people, because if you don't do that, then you exaggerate the risk. So you don't have to go in blindly, but you have to think. But you also have to accept that no matter all the magic that you do, you have to take the risk. If they train you to drive in the classroom, No matter what, how much good your teacher was, you have to take the car and hit the road and be ready to meet any other thing that is coming. If you don't do that, then you cannot drive. And so it's business. There'll be risk. And it's all risky anyway. But it's a bit more, intense for those who didn't prepare, who didn't develop their content, who didn't develop their mind, who didn't develop the understanding of what it takes to build a business. So if all your background, everybody around you cherish working with the government, you're coming from a civil service kind of background, and you say you want to start a business, your people will not agree with you. Your people will not be proud of you. Your people will say that, well, my son does not have, he's lazy, he doesn't want to go and work, he says that he wants to become a business person. That becomes, they will exaggerate the risk for you. And if perchance your business does not work out as planned, you should be ready to face all the things that will come up from those people who discourage you from taking that step in the first place. And so my name is Obinda Ako. I'm saying that your dream, the business that you want to build, it will take risk, and it's part of it. And I also think that in as much as those who have jobs think that they are not taking risk, there are jobs that are collapsing every day. Your business that you work with, the company that you work with, sometimes somebody will just come and they crash the business in the next minute, and you are left to look for another job. So you think that you may be exonerated from risk taking, but every one of us in a way is connected to some kind of risk. But the best form of risk is the one that you take in pursuit of your dream, in pursuit of doing something that you so much cherish. So hey, Black, yes, sure, you can never learn swimming in the classroom, no matter how much good your teacher is. You can even play it on the computer, you can do a simulation, but proper swimming, you have to go and enter the water yourself. And sometimes you may drown, sometimes you may get hurt, sometimes you can even die. But that's life. So risk taking is part of pursuing dreams. So if they talk to you about goals, they talk to you about dreams, they talk to you about achievement, they talk to you about business, they talk to you about word creation, they motivate you, they give you all kind of pump ups like they do, and they encourage you. One thing they should also tell you is that you have got to take that risk yourself. Nobody can take it for you. It's like when you're sick, the medicine that you have to take, nobody can take for you. It has to get into your system. You are the one to take the medicine. The same, nobody can take that business risk for you. If you say that you are the one who started the business, nobody could take that risk for you. You have to be the one to take the risk. And you have to shift your mind in terms of what they call risk. And you have to shift your mind from looking for comfort. You shift it from looking for comfort to looking at pursuing your dreams, because pursuing your dreams is what the security is. If you're really looking for security in this life, no job gives anybody security anywhere. No salary gives anybody security anywhere. No matter how much they add to the work, the package they gave you, that will never give you security. The people who really feel free are people who are living their dreams, who feel like satisfied, who feel like they are at liberty. They control their time, they control their resources, but at the same time they handle all the challenges that come with it. Are people who live who live by taking risk. The only thing that will usher you into total freedom, expression of your full potential, is in the risk, what they call risk. That's why sometimes I get confused as to why they call it risk taking, because it's the only part that will launch you into total liberty and freedom and achievement and satisfied life. It's not really the one that you are sure that you're getting the salary every month. No, that is good, but you live a life full of liberty and freedom and satisfaction when you live your dream, when you live your passion, when you live what they call your core, when you live the life according to your terms. You know, you control your time, you control your resources, you control a lot of things, and you're ready to go with the risk and everything that comes with it. That is how you live your dreams. All the other things that they tell you about risk taking, they're just trying to deter you from pursuing rare freedom. Entrepreneurship, especially. When you get up in the morning, when there's trouble, you solve them yourself. But when when there's liberty, it's up to you. And so when my friend was talking, the Lotto guy was saying that, I have a friend who was taking Lotto and he has built houses. And then he said that, so everyone's money is not clean. And so if somebody else is, let's say you employ people and instead of you paying them 100, you pay them 50, you don't have clean money. I'm like, wow. So this is the kind of persuasion that you have. That's why you're able to do this kind of job, because I couldn't imagine myself as a young man sitting down writing Lotto for people and think that that's the best you can do with your life. It was something. But you see, he convinced himself with all kind of ideologies, with all kind of theories. Maybe it's good for him, I don't know. But I think that if you are also going to take the risk and keep going, you must build your own philosophy. You must build your own understanding of life. You must see the world from a certain perspective. And it cannot just be, oh, this is my opinion. No. You don't live life on opinions. You live life on that which works. So if your belief system is not working, if the ideas that you have don't work, go and get the ones that work. Talk to somebody. Maybe theirs is working. You copy that. Don't. And my friend kept on saying, oh, well, that is your opinion. That's your opinion. I told him, listen, that's no opinion. There are principles in this life. And you live with principles more than opinions if you want to go through life and to pursue your dreams. Because to pursue your dreams and take the risk, it cannot be opinion. It's not opinion. You don't leave it to chances. Because you're doing it with your life. So you want to take the path even if you're not sure. And you want to take the path knowing that you are starting with the right frame of thinking, the right understanding of how things are done. Then you will not be killed by that risk. Because even if you didn't start with quality percentage in terms of what it take for you to succeed, at least you are starting with the right frame of thinking that if I continue at this thing and I continue to upgrade myself and become better, I would succeed. So risk taking is what is between you and the destiny that you saw here, the future that you saw here, the business that you want to own, the prosperity that you want to create, the dream that you want to see realized, all the things that you have in your heart. You have got to come to a point to say that, listen, what come with me, come what may, I want to take the first step. And it is always a step of faith. It's always a step, not knowing where the next thing will come from, but you step out. So nobody, I think nobody starts their first business knowing everything that, nobody. All of us didn't know what we were doing. You just had to take that step and say that, okay, this is what I want to do. So I'll take the step and see what comes up. But then you were open to learning. You were open to becoming better. You are not learning. You're not just giving yourself to opinion to say that, well, that is somebody's opinion and it doesn't matter. Listen, if you don't have the right principles, the right philosophies, the right ideas, the right frame of thinking, the right mindset, and you take the risk and you're not ready to adapt and change and improve, you will give up. It will destroy you. But no risk taking is supposed to destroy you. If you are ready to grow faster, to accommodate and correct the challenges that will come out of the risk taking. But if you're stagnant in your thought, if you're rigid in your thinking, and you hold on to that which you think is the best, even though if it's not working, then the risk taking will take you out. The risk taking will stop you from owning that business. The risk taking will stop you from building that company. It will stop you. Why? Because you are not changing. And life is in constant changing. So risk taking is that which is between you and you being able to own your business. So fight for it and be ready to embrace that which comes out of it. So there's no dream that will not require you to take risk. There's no dream. That's why they say those who succeed in this life are those who are courageous, because they dare. And without you daring, you can't get to your dreams. You can't get to build the business that you want to build. You can't get to grow that company. You can't get to take that position. because every bit of it will come with some level of threat. People will challenge you, society will challenge you, you will make some mistakes, there will be money issues, there will be disagreement. They are all the things that they call risk. And every one of them is meant or is coming at you giving up or stopping or losing everything. So there's a certain kind of courage that you have to have and to keep going. And that's how they call that is risk taking. It's risk taking. But it's not supposed to kill you. It's supposed to just make you better. So if you are not comfortable with risk taking, then you cannot build your business. Because entrepreneurship is just, after all the talks, after all the seminars, after all the things that they do for us, you have got to take the first step, and it is about doing. And when you take that first step, it's a form of risk that you're taking. But it's only risk, really, when you decide not to prepare and to get equipped and to keep going. But if you decide to prepare, to get equipped and to keep going, you'll be able to go and go well. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching. So take the risk. In spite of all the intellectual exercise, the academic exegesis that they will send you through, you still have to come to a point for you to make the decision that I want to do this. And almost all the time at the point of you starting, it looks scary. It looks unpredictable. It looks like nothing is going to work. It's looked at everything else is going to drop, but keep going. Because every dream worth pursuing is worth pursuing in uncertainty, not in certainty. You may never be certain. If you wait for everything to settle, you will not be the one to build that. You will not be the one. Somebody else will come and build it, not you. Because you want everything to be clear, everything to be certain, everything to be in place. Not with business, not with entrepreneurship. No, you just have to have the strength of mind. You have to have the largeness of heart. You have to be just a strong man to say that I'm going to go at it and I'm going to keep going. That's all. And you keep training and keep building your content and keep developing yourself and keep going. But that is the only thing that may mitigate the so-called risk that everybody else is talking of. So but if you're hooked up to salary and perception of people and things like that, then it will be tough for you to embrace this kind of journey, because it's a different kind of journey. You have to shift to become that kind of person who can go through this journey. So it's about risk, and the risk has been exaggerated actually. So study that risk and minimize it and see what you can do to pursue your dreams. But whatever comes up, whatever may be, you still have to take that first step of it, and that calls for some level of uncertainty, and that is what they call risk. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching.